The 2023 Honda Pilot is fully redesigned and my wife approves. So I guess that's all we need to know. So happy wife, happy life, right? We're done here. Just kidding. But in this video, we're gonna take a full detailed look at the exterior, the interior, and get it out on the road for a test drive and see if this Honda Pilot is the 3-row you should choose. All right, y'all, let's take a look at all the exterior details of this redesigned 2023 Honda Pilot. So this one is the TrailSport, but the trim levels are the base LX, Sport, EXL, TrailSport, Touring, and the top end Elite. So starting right up front, this gloss black grille that you're gonna get is only gonna be on a few different trims. It's the Trail model and up. I think it looks nice. I like the revised front end here for this 2023 Pilot, and I'd love to know your feedback below. I think it looks so much better than the previous generation. And then you're gonna get LED headlights standard on every model, just like that with an LED daytime running light. The LED fog lights are on everything except the base model. And you get a little TrailSport icon over here. You've got an LED turn signal as well, and you even get little air curtains on the side right there. So this Pilot is totally different up front. Now, what do y'all think of these milky colors? So this like milky blue right here, I'll put the name of the paint below, but what do you think of these kind of colors? They're becoming way more popular now, and most people that I've run into said that they like it, but one person in particular really does not like it. I'd love to know your thoughts. Now, look at this. So we actually get these semi-rugged, or at least a little bit more rugged tires on this TrailSport model than you'll typically get on what you see on most crossovers. And dimensionally, the Pilot has grown. It's now 200 inches long, so it's about 4 inches longer, and you'll see some of the improvements in space on the inside when we get in there, which is really nice. It's bigger without being massive, so it's not like it's unwieldy to drive around still. It's right in line with what a lot of 3-rows are nowadays, and it's just a good overall size for interior and exterior dimensions. Ground clearance is actually 8.3 inches on this TrailSport model and 7.3 on the other models. In addition to that, most of them are going to get roof rails overhead just like that, where you can get crossbars fitted. We have an LED brake and stop light there, but an incandescent turn signal on this model. Pilot written across the back, all-wheel drive badge, a receiver down there for towing, and there's even a spare tire underneath. Now let's take a look at the cargo space. So Honda definitely improved the cargo space along with the rest of the interior space thanks to its new dimensions. So you've got a power lift gate on most models, a hands-free lift gate just on the upper trim. So the lower models give you a manual, then a regular power, and then hands-free. And I've got all kinds of junk spread out back here because it's been a rainy week and it's just been tough. But over here, we've got good space behind the third row. Considering, you know, typical 3 rows don't typically have good space behind there. You've got room for a little cargo net, you've got a 12-volt power outlet, an extra little storage area over there too, and your jack kit is underneath of there. One nice thing is that I like how Honda still gives us easy ways to manually fold down the third row. So check that out, super easy. The headrest will automatically fold too, so if the headrest is up, there's no extra step. You just let it down, just like that. But don't lose your straps, because then you can't reach it, and I lost both straps. And it's a really nice flat load floor. I mean, just take a look at that. This is great, super flat, so if you use it as a 2-row, you've got a nice flat floor here. In addition, you've got storage space under here, and this is actually really nice and deep. The spare tire is under the body of the vehicle, but this is massive. You can throw a lot of good stuff back here. To fold the second row, you can come back here, just pull this lever, and it's going to slam down. Even with the seat fairly far back right there, it still went down. And it's, again, pretty flat. You've got a bench seat option in some of them, but you've got 87 cubic feet now with a flat floor and pretty good height, because this is actually a little bit of a taller vehicle. All right, look at Honda's key fob. This is a little bit different, similar design to what we've typically seen. You will have remote start on everything except the base model. You can open up your rear on the models with the power gate, and I think it looks nice and feels nice, and it's small enough to not be bothersome. So smart key system works like this. You've got these lines to lock it. The mirrors can power fold. You've got a blinker on there. At least on most of these, you can get the power folding mirrors. Then a sensor in the back to unlock. Now, only the upper trim is going to give you the smart key on the back door. So we don't have the locking lines or the sensor on the back door on these lower models. Just keep that in mind. One cool feature is if you walk away, this will automatically lock. So the mirror folded, you can turn this off or on, but if you've got your hands full, you just need to kick the door shut and walk away, it will lock for you. Now climbing into the front seat, the lower trim, the base model, is the only one that's going to give you manual adjustment. The rest of them are going to give you 10-way power adjustment here, and we've got 2-way lumbar. I'm honestly kind of surprised we don't have 4-way lumbar like the CRV, I believe, does, but at least you still have the rest of the adjustments. Upper trims will give you leather, but this particular one gives us a synthetic material actually. I'm kind of surprised by that. I don't know if it's because they expect people to be getting in here and getting it dirty and stuff and just have something easy to clean with no perforations or anything, but this is a synthetic material. You've got this unique stitching and piping on here. I think the seats look nice. I have one complaint with these seats though that I want to share with you. So it doesn't look bad from here, but that headrest is a bit intrusively far forward and you cannot adjust it backward. So part-time, I work in a physical therapy clinic. Posture is crucial. We have neck pain patients all the time. Everybody's got forward head posture. These headrests kind of contribute to that because they almost push you forward. Now headrests have to be there to be supportive for you and prevent whiplash, but they're a little bit aggressive. I just wish we could move them back some, at least make them a little adjustable like some brands. But otherwise, I have been comfortable in here with the seat cushion, the back, the lumbar support, and the memory settings on here too. Let me show you. Memory settings on the door, so the seat can automatically move to your spot when you get in the vehicle. And you've got a manual tilt and telescoping wheel. It's got a really good range of motion as well. It is leather wrapped on everything but the base and can be heated on some trims too. Every model but the base model is going to give you heated seats. If you want ventilated seats, it is only available on the Elite. Now moving into the second row, this is a little bit interesting. All of them can be an 8-seater except for this TrailSport model. So we've got captain's chairs in here. The EXL is standard at 7, but optional at 8. And there's going to be a middle seat for the, for all of those. And the Touring and Elite will have a stowable seat. So you can technically make that a 7-passenger, but it's just an interesting configuration from Honda. One nice thing, very convenient, is the pull-up sunshade. That's on the EXL and up. You also get hard plastic here, even on, an upper kind of $50,000 vehicle, but most of the time it's going to be kids back here. You've got a soft armrest. You've got great little cup holders, bigger one, smaller one, and some extra knick-knack storage. Now these seats can move forward and backwards, and sitting behind myself, I'm 5'9". There's a lot of foot space. There's a lot of knee space. I've got zero complaints about that. The middle is even flat right there, which is great. So if you do have the bench seat here, you'll probably be pretty comfortable, and there's a good amount of width. This is a nice wide vehicle, and without the bench seat here, it's kind of interesting just having this surface. There's no console right here. It's just this flat area. Honda gives us folding armrests. They're not ratcheting though. A little surprised by that. And right in front of us, we get climate controls. On most models, every model is going to get their own air conditioning vents, but the actual climate controls are on the EXL and up. So they're down there, got a couple of USB ports and a 115 volt plug down there. And then check this out. In the seat back pocket, on both driver and passenger, we have these little cell phone pockets. This is kind of funny. This is on the EXL and up, so you can stick it in there, still have, headphones plugged in or whatever, and it's just out of the way, I guess. Something clever. Unlike some crossovers, there's no AC vents overhead, but at least you get this nice big panoramic roof on these upper trims. And headroom in here is good. Even with the panoramic roof, which usually does cut into the roof, there's still a few inches above me at 5'9", so most adults should fit in here just fine. Oh yeah, and to top it off, of course, you can recline if you want to. Now getting into the third row, first of all, obviously you can go up and around that way, but we have these folding seats. So push that button and it will automatically fold and slide forward, and it gives you a decent space to get through back there. And there's actually 3 technical seats right there. Let me hop in. And check it out, I have this seat all the way back and I can still sit here. This is great. Honda did lengthen the Pilot, and I love that an adult can actually fit in the third row if needed. And of course, you can move the seats forward a little bit more and have more space, or you can just kick your feet up and bother your second row passengers. A couple nice amenities back here. You've got an air conditioning vent, cup holders, and a USB charging port. That's gonna be on both sides. And a lot of times, headroom is a problem in the third row, but not in here. I can still sit up tall. Excellent job, Honda. It's not a huge vehicle on the outside. It's still 200 inches, which is big, but It's not massive, and they really did a good job making this interior nice and spacious. All right, y'all, let's take a look at the inside of this Honda Pilot. So I like what they've done. I think it's still practical. Honda's always done a good job with practicality of their interiors. We have push button start right back there. Got a nice start up here. Let's go through all the features on everything. First of all, over on the door, you've got a soft material right here. You've got a fairly soft one right here if you like to rest your arm there. Memory settings on the door and all auto one-touch windows. One thing I appreciate is Honda gives you some extra cubbies there, over here, even enough for a huge bottle like that, and a storage area down there. To open up the cargo area, you can use that button in addition to your key fob or the actual tailgate. Steering wheel here, this is leather wrapped on this one, and on the Trail model here, we get a heated steering wheel along with the Elite model. Another cool thing with this button over here is you've got a heated wiper zone. So the areas that your wipers rest can be heated on this Trail and the Elite model. So if you live in cold climates, that's fantastic. Some of your driver assist feature stuff will be on here, like your radar cruise control, your lane keeping system, and then over here you've got controls for your audio and your information display, which is right up overhead. You'll see little tiny paddle shifters here. We'll maybe check those out in the test drive. There's no automatic rain sensing windshield wipers on this model. Just keep that in mind. Now, Honda gives us a new looking cluster. I mean, things still look similar to what other Honda products have, but you've got a couple different options between models. So first, we have a 7-inch display, which you can see over there. If you want a full-on digital display over 10 inches, you have to get the Elite. That's the only way to get it. But over there, you've got different things that you can go through. I'll show you what all information you can see. This looks similar to what we've seen on some other Hondas. And what do you think of it? I think it looks okay. It shows you pretty much everything that you need. You've got a couple of different trips that you can go through as well. And I have driven this on the highway a fair amount, and I'm still only getting 20.2 miles per gallon. There is a really small head-up display available, but that is only on the Elite model, and it's only 4 inches, which is kind of crazy compared to some like 10, 12, 15-inch head-up displays. But over here, in fact, one thing I want to point out is, which is really convenient, right on this stock, you have this button for the camera. I love how you don't have to search around in the screen or be in reverse in order to access this camera. So this 360 camera is really nice. You can see that next to the wheels, you can see a top-down view, and of course it pops up when you go in reverse. Now, Honda will give you Apple CarPlay and Android Auto standard on all trim levels. This one with the 9-inch screen gives us wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and that's great because we have a wireless charging mat there as well. Otherwise, the lower trims will give you a 7-inch display, but this 9-inch display is standard on this TrailSport model. I like the way that it works. You've still got a shortcut for home, you've got a volume knob, you even got some tuning knobs right here. So you have a couple of physical controls in addition to the actual touchscreen. Hit that to go back to Honda's menu, and this is going to look very similar. You can drag and drop different things down here, kind of like a phone, so you can have your own customized little shortcut menu. And one feature that we have on here is called Cabin Talk. So it will amplify your voice to the rear speakers so you don't have to turn around and yell at your kids. That feature is on the EXL and up. And this 9-inch screen is also on the EXL and up. For audio, you're going to get a 7-speaker on the lower trims, a 9-speaker on these middle trims, and then a 12-speaker system on the top trims. With this larger screen, you also get Wi-Fi on this particular model as well. The top 2 trims can also give you Wi-Fi, so we don't have it on here. You can also have a whole bunch of different things that you can customize, so you can dig into your settings and make things exactly how you want them to be. Moving down here, we actually get a tri-zone climate control. We have dual zone for these front passengers, plus you have the rear passengers. So you've got rear controls right here. You can turn those off or on and completely customize the rear settings, and the rear passengers have their own controls as well on most trims. I like how easy this is. It's laid out very nice. You can easily dictate between rear and front, and we've got our heated or ventilated seats, if you have them, controls up here too. Just down from there, you got a little storage slot, USB-A, USB-C, and a 12-volt power outlet, in addition to this wireless charging mat on the EXL trim level and up, and it's pretty wide enough to store some other items. Now Honda gives us this push button shifter we've seen in other models. This is with the 10-speed automatic, which I'll talk about. It takes some getting used to, but one pro about it is that it takes up 0 space vertically, so it's a nice, clear, easy reach into there. Then back from there, drive mode selector is right there. We'll go through that in the test drive. Electronic parking brake, even a brake hold, and downhill assist. So if I toggle through the drive modes, we've got an economy mode, we've got sport, normal, we've got snow, you can see trail, sand, and even a mode for towing. So we'll check out a couple of those in the test drive. Cup holders are great, they're good size, they're in a good location, they've got little things to help accommodate bigger and smaller drinks. And this armrest right here is large, it is comfortable for the most part. I love how wide it is, it's great. And it comes far enough forward to be able to rest on here and touch the steering wheel. Inside the center console, you've got just a big old area right there. You've got a smaller area to store a couple little things, and then just a big bin in here. One thing I love, and one thing that my wife really likes, is that there's a shelf right there. Just to like put her phone or put a couple items or whatever, just nice little convenient places to put things in addition to the door. Got a locking glove box right here, soft opening, decent size. The EXL trim level and up will give you an automatic dimming rearview mirror that include the garage controls back there. Every single model is actually going to give you LED interior lights. So these lights will be LED no matter what. We even have little tiny bits of ambient light that comes down here. The top trims actually get more ambient light, but we get this little bit that comes down to give you a little glow in the cabin. Overhead, you also get a sunglass holder in addition to a conversation mirror. That conversation mirror is only on the EXL and up. So if you have the automatic dimming mirror, you get the conversation mirror too. These whole visors will slide out, so you have pretty good coverage with that. They're honestly a little bit narrow or a little bit like short, so they don't come down all that far, but I think that they still work well. One thing to keep in mind, very minor, is that the lower trims don't give you vanity lights. Kind of interesting. Then one more feature up here is that we get this panoramic roof. There's no standard size moonroof. It's either nothing or a panoramic roof. And this panoramic roof is on the Trail model and up. All right, y'all, we are now behind the wheel of this Pilot, and I've driven the other Pilot a couple of times, and this one feels very similar, but it feels a little bit more structurally solid and put together. That's one thing I've got to say. So powertrain is still pretty much the same. We got a 3.5 liter V6. There is no hybrid available, or no plug-in hybrid at this time. You know, some competitors have come out with hybrids over the last couple of years, or plug-in hybrids, and I'm surprised that Honda does not have that right away with this 2023 Honda Pilot. Power numbers are up a little bit, and torque numbers as well over last year. Still not quite as much as some of the competitors, but it still feels plenty peppy if you ask me. I'll have all the specs on the screen, and this comes with the 10-speed automatic now instead of a 9-speed. It is the second generation 10-speed, and it has been pretty darn quick and responsive for most situations. Just little partial pedals, and being a naturally aspirated engine instead of a turbo engine, you get that buildup of power. You know, you don't have the immediate quick boost of power like you do in some, so it depends on your personal preference. I prefer a naturally aspirated engine like this. I like the way they feel, I like the way they sound, and it gets down and shifts down pretty quick. The steering feels, first of all, this leather on here, at least on this new vehicle, is so soft. This just feels so nice. One thing I've noticed is the steering wheel feels a little big though, like the diameter, you know, from one end to the other, just feels larger than what I feel like I'm used to in most of these vehicles. But the steering input and feel is good. Honda's always been really good about having a lighter steering that's still direct and easy to handle and maneuver. So it's not a heavy, laborious, sporty type of steering. It's a lighter, easier to move steering, but still feels direct. And the ride comfort in this Pilot is good too. It might change a little bit depending on the tires and the wheels in those other trim levels, but I like the suspension in this Pilot. It's comfortable. I haven't had any complaints myself. My wife likes it, and that's important. Braking on here feels just fine as well. Nothing out of the ordinary with that. Now the drive mode button is down here. I'm gonna kick us up into sport mode. Things turn red right here. This is gonna automatically keep this 10 speed at higher RPMs. Pedal down. So, not a burner, but it's quick enough. You know, this has plenty of power. You'll feel comfortable passing people most of the time. Got no complaints about that. So Honda's done a good job of delivering a good handling, a comfortable riding, easy to drive, semi-powerful crossover. I took a second to downshift there, and that's expected, but let's get on it again. We're still in sport mode. It's quick to go. So sport mode is not going to adjust the suspension. It's literally just going to change the input of your throttle response. You can go into eco mode as well. We'll keep it in normal mode now. One thing to know is that Honda does give you a full suite of their Honda sensing technology. So driver assist features, your radar cruise control, your lane keeping system. We even have lane centering technology, your emergency braking. This model's got blind spot monitoring. You've got automatic high beams. I mean, you've got just about everything that you would want on here. It just, you know, even on the elite model that gets very expensive, it still doesn't seem quite as luxurious as maybe some competitors with some of the features, but things vary so much from brand to brand on what they will offer or what they won't offer. Now, one thing to note is that this Pilot has a laminated windshield. The upper trims will give you laminated side glass, but this one does not have laminated side glass. This still tested pretty good with my decibel ratings on its road noise. Not a class leader, but definitely still not bad either. Totally fine and comfortable with the family. So to wrap things up on this Pilot, I think it's easy to drive. It's semi-enjoyable to drive for a crossover, and there's not much to complain about. It's very practical in here, especially from a driving perspective. The display is fine, controls are easy, storage is good, and it's just, you know, it hits the nail on the head for a family SUV. Now, to wrap things up on this 2023 Honda Pilot, I like the new styling. I like the extra space inside without it being massive. You still get a good amount of features, a great amount of practicality. This V6 is still pretty potent, and there's not much to complain about. Honda still has a lot to offer with this 3-row. I wish they maybe offered a hybrid. I wish they maybe offered a little bit more of their bells and whistles on some of their trims, because it's a trim level that you're basically stuck with. You can't just pick this trim and then maybe get a couple options. You have to get whatever trim goes with those features. So something to keep in mind. But let me know what you think of this Honda Pilot. Do you like the refresh? Do you like the new looks? What do you think? Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a beautiful day, but it's sprinkling out. I hope you can't see that. Anyways, have a good one.